Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is talking all things Real Housewives of Miami, we are now on season 7, episode 2. We are going to get into it, and I have a few really good hot takes about Miami that I haven't really heard anybody else talk about. Might be a little controversial, but as always, if you're joining me live, put your thoughts down in the chat box. If you're watching on the replay, be sure to comment down below. We will also talk about the Valley. The Valley. I think they need to make a lot of changes for season 3. I personally don't want to see this same cast come back the way it is, or else I'll probably stop watching. But I want to know what you guys think about that. And yeah, and don't forget that, if you want to connect with me, be sure to connect with me on Instagram at Candy Washington. Be sure to subscribe over here, hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. And be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share. It is a fun and free and easy way to support me and the show. And I would really, really appreciate that. So as you come in, say hi in the chat box. Let's have a fun discussion. So with that, let's dive right on in. So, first up, Real Housewives of Miami. Let's get into it. Okay. Oh, yeah, then that's my Amazon shop, which is linked down below. Be sure to check out all my goodies and fun stuff there. Okay. The first thing I'm going to say about the Real Housewives of Miami is this. Who does Alexia and Todd think they are fooling? You're not fooling anybody, okay? This is the gag, Alexia and Todd. In my humble opinion, allegedly, I think they're lying. I don't think they ever broke up. I don't believe that he got all his stuff like a thief in the night and took everything out of their rented apartment in front of Frankie, without her knowledge. This to me seems like a scheme that Todd made up. And rock with me on this conspiracy, okay? We're gonna put our candy cane conspiracy caps. Rock with me. I think that Alexia and Todd are very much together. She was on Watch What Happens Live saying they're still sleeping together, they still see each other, maybe they'll reconcile. Maybe I think all of that is a bunch of BS. I think he had or has, and again, this is my opinion, allegedly, hypothetically speaking. I don't want Todd or Alexia coming for me legally. This is just my opinion, hypothetically speaking, in the world. I think that Alexia and Todd never broke up. I think the only reason why they got divorced was to protect money and assets. And I think that he owes either investors or maybe some loan sharks. I don't know. Again, my opinion on this. I think that he has something not right financially, something shady going on with his businesses, with his real estate, with where his money came from or comes from. And I think that they had to do some sort of shifty, sketchy narrative. One, to protect her. She's like, oh, I don't know anything. He came in and did all this stuff, and I don't know. And then he filed, and again, then he files for divorce, but doesn't do anything about the divorce for 5 or 6 months. Then all of a sudden they get legally divorced, like she said on Watch What Happens Live. It was a legal divorce, but they're still together. Who gets divorced to stay together, but never actually broke up? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Also, Alexia is not that good of an actress. That whole dinner scene where she is crying and she was like, and I stayed in your rented apartment and your rented car and you don't own anything. I thought all of that was an act. I thought it was all fake and phony and it sounded very scripted. I think the reason why she is saying this is to get somebody off of Todd's butt for money owed or money squandered or something like that. My gut is that this is a scheme they came up with in order to protect his money or his assets or to get out of some type of debt or shady financial situation that they're in. Also, packing up everything in your apartment and leaving in the like a thief in the night, that gives, are you foreclosing? Are you not? Are you back on your rent? Are you about to be evicted? Like some that also gives very scammer grifter vibes. None of it makes any sense. I think that she's lying to Marisol. I think Marisol is in the dark, and that's why Marisol is like, I'm so confused. Like, he's a bad guy. You're saying he's doing all this too, but yet you guys are still together. I don't get it because she's lying to you, in my opinion, Marisol. None of their breakup makes any sense unless they're kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, Dorit and PK vibes. It's giving very grifter, grifter, grifter. I see a lot of people blaming him. They're like, oh, he's the Louis of, Miami. Alexia is so stupid. She's being used. I don't buy any of that. I think that these two are in on it 100% together. It was all an act. Also, at first when she said, oh, I'm having this dinner party for my friend Johnny, and I'm not going to invite Gertie and I'm not going to invite Adriana because I don't want them to make it about themselves, blah 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 blah. I was like, oh, that is so shady, Alexia. Like, why are you being rude to Gertie because she's beefing with Julia? And we're going to get to you, Julia, with your dark spirit and your dark heart. We're going to get to you, Julia. But then I realized, oh, the reason why Alexia didn't invite Gertie and Adriana is because they are the two that would call her on her BS. Those are the two women that would be like, you're acting, none of this makes any sense. I don't know what's going on. Like, those are the two women who would really not be having it. Do you know what I'm saying? Those are the two people who would come out and be like, this is fake. You're lying. None of this makes any sense. They would hold her feet to the fire. And that's why Alexia did not invite Gertie and Adriana. And I was like, oh, this is a team scheme Todd made up. I think that Alexia's Todd, I think that he is still paying all of her bills. I think their finances are very much tied up together. And I think she played her part, he played his part to get out of some type of financial debt or bind or investors. I don't know. There's a fly in the milk and it doesn't make any sense. So I want to know what you guys think about that. I'm like, I don't know why Alexia and Todd are playing in our faces. They're clearly together. Their divorce was a sham, and clearly they're doing all of this narrative somehow to get out of some financial jam. That's what it feels like to me. And that's why she had that face. I was in your rented and this and your rented that. When does Alex, you know what I'm saying? Like, did you have to do that whole performance? You literally had a whole dinner just so you could say a couple of scripted lines. Girl, bye. I think there's something legal going on with that. Okay, now let's talk about Larsa and Lisa. Okay. Larsa and Lisa. Larsa is the type of friend that is only your friend for two reasons. One, she's your friend because she's using you for something, like the Kardashians. She's using you for clout and for a come up and, to sort of ride your coattails. And she's using you for access and for fame and for money and all, not for money because she has Pippin money, but you know what I mean? For that type of level of fame and that level of access and influence. So clearly she was using the Kardashians for that. I don't like the Kardashians, but that's for a different video. Or she's your friend like Lisa, where being around you makes her feel better about herself. So when Lisa was Boo Boo the Fool for her ex-husband, who was or estranged husband, I don't know if they're legally divorced yet, but we'll just call her ex. When Lisa was being clowned by him, when she was being cheated on by him, when she was being, verbally, I don't want to say abused unless she uses that term, but not being treated right. You know what I mean? He wasn't being nice to her. He wasn't being good to her, When she was kind of bottom of the barrel, Larsa had no problem being besties with her because being around Lisa made her feel better about herself. She had the marriage until she had the divorce, but then she was dipping it and doing it. Do you know what I mean? So she had no problem being friends with Lisa when she felt that Lisa was beneath her. But when Lisa finally found her voice, got her man Jody, Jody has money, from tech. Hopefully, it's clean money. You never know these days with these people, but just hopefully it's clean money. He loves her. He's there for her. He is super supportive. It seems like a really good relationship. So then all of a sudden, Larsa has a problem. And this whole, you still follow Marcus, miss me with all that BS. Didn't Kim Kardashian literally kick you out of a hotel room because you were still talking to her ex and father of her children, Kanye West? Now, I'm not defending the Kardashians because I never would, but you can't talk about loyalty and talk about all this, that, and the third when you have no loyalty yourself. You also was allegedly flirting with Travis Scott, who was with Kylie Jenner. Again, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, girl, bye. And then also to try and go after Jody and accuse him of being on AC. If you watch the other episodes, you know what that means. AC or skiing or snowing, whatever the case may be. How can you try and go after Jody and make him look like he's a bad guy because you're mad that he still hangs out with Marcus in social situations? Why would Jody stop being friends with Marcus because your fake PR relationship is over? And I agree with Lisa. I think her breakups were fake and they were for PR. I think the whole relationship was PR. I don't even think Larsa really even lives in Miami. I think she lives in LA and New York. I think she films in Miami. I think she parties in Miami, but Miami isn't a real home base. It's a filming base and it's a party base. So, girl, come on with it. And who wouldn't want to hang out with a Jordan? Like, I personally wouldn't want to hang out with Marcus, given everything that's come out about him. But I'm talking about like in general, why would Jody burn a bridge with Marcus Jordan because he broke up with Larsa? None of that makes any sense. And Lisa said herself, I didn't go to the dinner. I can't control him. He's an adult. Like, what are you talking about? And then for Larsa to go to Lisa's house and try to clown Jody, calling him cheap and Marcus is using him and all this stuff, and then talking about, Lisa and how she had allegedly, you know, sexual encounters with other women and her husband in the hot tub. I thought that was totally disgusting and totally against girl code. You don't do that. You don't throw your friend's personal business in their face on Mad Day. You don't do that. Even there are people who I would never even speak to again in life. But if they told me something in confidence that is sacred, I would never throw that back to them in their face. And when people do that to me, then they're dead to me. If I tell you something in confidence and then you throw it in my face on Mad Day, you're dead to me. Don't ever expect us to be cool again because we're not. It is what you don't do that to people. And then we see Larsa being so childish, like in the car ride from the airport to the hotel for the whole Milan fashion show. Her son said, I don't want to talk about this. This is a work trip for me. All Larsa does is talk about it. She literally ignores her son pretty much, even when they get to the fashion show. And it's Lisa who steps in and is like, oh, your mom's not here. Like, are you hungry? Do you need something? And she goes into mama bear mode because she's known her kids for like 15 years, ever since they were like little goobers. And then you have Larsa who is doing selfies with lights while Lisa is walking, like just being and not letting anybody talk in the car ride, just being completely irrational and narcissistic and selfish and weird and not letting anybody talk. Like all of it was just a hot mess. And Larsa just looked so pathetic and sad. She just oozed pathetic. You're not letting anybody talk. You're thinking it all about yourself. Lisa is being more compassionate and thoughtful and mature about the energy and conversation that she's bringing around your child than you are. And your own child had to check you when you were like, oh, shouldn't Lisa, why is Lisa here if her dad's dying? And he was like, well, that's their business. And side note, that was so disgusting for Larsa to tell Lisa that if her father is dying, why is she here? You don't understand the pain of being estranged from your family. You know, People can't judge that. People who are estranged from fathers or mothers or sisters or brothers, you can't judge them for creating boundaries and for making choices with people in their life. I don't think that Lisa owed being there for her father at that moment to her father. I think she made the right choice. I think she made the right choice to go to Milan, to have this, once in a lifetime, but to have this like amazing experience. I know she had just sort of, made amends with her father. I don't know the complete backstory, but I do know that particularly, children who alienate themselves or estrange themselves from parents, it's usually for a really, really good reason. And so for Larsa to throw that in her face was just so dirty. And just it just shows you who Larsa is, like she did last season, questioning Gertie's cancer diagnosis, but then wants to lie in her face and tell her that her butt is real. So you want to lie and say your butt is real and you never had any plastic surgery or injection shots, but then you want to question Gertie's cancer diagnosis. You're disgusting. Then you want to throw in the fact that Lisa's father is dying and she's torn between putting herself first and her own needs first with, going to see him when clearly there has probably been a lot of abandonment on his end to her, abuse, toxicity, dysfunction. Nobody wakes up and says, I never want to talk to my parents again unless there's some, you know what I'm saying? Unless there's a deep seated reason for that. And so for her to go after her, it's just so disgusting to me. It's so nasty. Like Larsa is, she's like a walking cesspool. She's not it. She's not it on any type of level at all. Okay. Now, where now let's see. Okay, so we talked about Larsa and Lisa. Then I got on like, oh. I'm not buying this whole, oh my God, look at Jodi's eyes. That's sort of like the cliffhanger they left on with Lisa and Larsa and Jodi. I think Jodi was fed up with Larsa because Larsa was hella disrespectful to him. Number one, she called him cheap. She said that he was living in a fantasy land. She called him a psycho. She said that Marcus Jordan was using him to get to her. She was so disrespectful to his girlfriend while she was on the runway with the whole lights and selfie and talking and making all these, taking shots and shade and stuff. I think once the camera went down, Jodi had enough. And I'm team Jodi on this. Guy or girl, you're not going to sit here and clown me and sun me and disrespect me repeatedly and not expect to get checked back, guy or girl. I'm not talking about physical. I'm talking about verbal. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get checked. It just comes a point in time where disrespect has to be met with disrespect, point blank, period. And for her trying to create this whole narrative, where's Jodi? Shouldn't he be happy for her? Isn't he here to support her? Isn't that why? Like, girl, bye. Where's your man at? And don't tell me, oh, Larsa has a new man. Please, that little NBA player who's like her child's age, her children's age. Get out of here. Knock off the nonsense. It's giving another PR relationship. Did her publicist set this up? Did they call back grid? I'm not believing this nonsense for 1 second, okay? And I'm not age shaming her. So everybody stop with age shaming. I'm not age shaming her. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Okay. So yeah, it's just so disgusting. I think Jodi just had enough. And I'm not going to buy into Larsa photoshopping and cropping Jodi's face and everyone at the table being like, oh my God. And then I believe Lisa came out and said, this is so disgusting. You crop out one photo from a night out, a lot of lights going on, in AC or snowing or skiing, whatever the case may be. They're from Miami, like whatever. I'm not judging that. You want to go and play in the snow? Go play in the snow, whatever. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do you, boo boo. But I think that Larsa is trying to make a mountain out of a molehill because she's embarrassed that Marcus is out here clowning her now that their PR relationship is over. That she's embarrassed that, I think she paid for a lot of her relationship with Marcus. And I think that she is jealous that Jodi subsidizes Lisa's life and Lisa's ex-husband continues to subsidize Lisa's life. And I think she's really jealous. I think she wishes she had a Jodi. And that's why she's doing this, that, and the third. I think she wishes she had someone to step up and provide for her and to be there for her and to have her back. I think she wishes she had Lisa's position. And that's why she's so mad. Larsa, you're playing this all wrong, baby girl. This is what Larsa should have done. After the whole Marcus PR breakup relationship, Larsa should have went to Jody and Lisa and said, "Yo, set a girl up. I'm done with these NBA boys, playing in my face." You know what I'm saying? Set me up with a tech guy. Set me up with a Silicon Valley guy. Set me up with the next guy from Google or, Apple. Set me up with, the next Bill Gates. That's what I would have done. I would have been like, "Jody, I need a roster of all your single friends who are in your circle, who are nice and kind and supportive and rich." You know what I'm saying? Like, set a girl up. And then that could have been the new foursome. It could have been Jody, one of his, rich friends, Lisa and Larsa dipping it and doing it. But you will only have that perspective when you are not a hater, when you're not jealous, when you have a genuine friendship built on mutual respect and admiration. So, because I'm like that, that's what my mind would say. I would be like, "Oh my God, girl, set me up with one of Jody's friends and we could be like couples." But no, because Larsa's spirit is so dark, Jezebel, and evil and jealous, she goes straight to, "I don't feel good about myself. I want to take you down so I can feel better, about me, because I only feel good about me when I think that you are beneath me." So that's why we now have Larsa talking about who she follows on Instagram. Who cares who she follows on Instagram? Grow up. That's why we have Larsa trying to take Jody down. Jody doesn't owe you a damn thing, Larsa, boo boo. Not nan thing in this world. And at this point, neither does Lisa. So, Larsa, you need to go work on yourself. You need to go get some therapy. You need to get rid of your jealous, envious spirit, and keep it pushing and popping. I'm team Lisa on this 1000%. You don't come into my home and disrespect me. You don't go into my boyfriend's face and disrespect him and think everything's going to be kumbaya because you are jealous and you're going through something. Bye bye. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about Julia and Gertie. Okay, guys. I'm team Gertie. I think that's a given. If you're team Julia, I'm not sure why you're I'm not sure who invited you. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, all opinions are welcome. I'm just joking. But to me, Julia always has to have a problem with somebody. Last season, she wanted to be best friends with Alexia, but she had to have a problem with her because she didn't want to share a room with her. She made it about being a lesbian. It clearly wasn't about her being a lesbian, all up in arms. She totally ditched Adriana because she's all up Alexia's butt now. She was friends with Gertie, but now she's ditching Gertie. And everything Julia is saying to me just shows me how nasty Julia is. And I'm like Martina, like blink twice, Martina, because Martina, I believe, was going to leave Julia. Wasn't she going to leave her? But then she got cancer, and so they stayed together. Anyway, that's what I thought. Martina, you can still get out. There's still time. But the whole like Gertie sent a cold text message and she didn't join the live. Number one, Zooms stink. Like, it's not 2020. Why are we still doing Zoom phone calls? Like, go get some cockies and call it a day. Like, why are you doing Zoom in 2025? Go touch some grass and get outside. Number two, Julia wanted everybody to kiss her butt. And because Gertie couldn't join the Zoom, the link or whatever, she's like, "Oh, I couldn't join. What's going on?" If she's like, "I was juggling two babies and I was dictating." You sent this woman a whole paragraph about, "Oh, you couldn't join the Zoom and blah, 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 blah. But now the information is already out there and you'll see everything that's out there." And blah. Like, you sent this woman freaking paragraphs, dictated or typed, whatever you want to call it. You couldn't just say, "Oh my gosh, I wish you could have joined. I have the best news. We finally got our babies. We have two beautiful boys. I'm holding them right now. Can't wait for you to meet them." Whatever the case may be. As long as it took you to write her paragraphs saying you'll find out with the rest of the world now, you could have told her what the news was. She was very apologetic. She clearly was trying to juggle multiple things. And also, Gertie is a cancer survivor, but she's still going through it. She's doing radiation, she's doing chemo. She's doing reconstructive surgery, and you expect her to just drop everything because you have a Zoom call? Girl, if you don't get all the way the hell out of my face with this nonsense, okay? And then to have a stick up your butt, oh, you'll see it when you see it. And then she texted you, congrats. Oh, you're being cold. Julia, what did you want her to do? Knit you some blankets for the babes? Like, I'm confused. What did you want her to do when you wouldn't even tell her? And then you go and you replay the story. And then you go and replay what happened, making Gertie the villain when she's clearly not the villain. And then Martina's even like, yeah, Julia is kind of whack because at the party, Gertie's like, I don't know what I did, a Zoom call, the link, like, how are the kids? Martina's trying to be in cold because she's sitting by Julia, but then Martina's like, well, I don't really know what happened, so that's between y'all because it's so clearly bizarre and weird. Like Julia is a witch to me, and I mean, I feel I get like she's like a witch. Like I see her in like her garden or her field, like chopping down herbs and doing a stew or something. Like she gives off like witchy poo vibes. Total tangent, but that's just what came to me. Anyway, and then her whole nonsensical story about how Julia and Martina were supposed to do some type of event, and then Martina was sick or something and couldn't go, and so they were like, "Gertie, can you come?" And Gertie's like, "Yeah, of course I'll come and like support you." And damn right, you would have heard more from me than the very nice text that Gertie sent me, being like, "Hey, look, like I went to go get dinner, like to get food. They didn't have my name, and they sort of, poo pooed me away for this VIP section." So I'm not sure why they separated us. We came since I'm here for you and we came together, so I ate dinner by myself, but it's okay. I'm cool. And, I'll see you around. What was wrong with that, Julia? Number one, you're whack as hell. Don't invite me to an event that I'm doing you a favor for and not make sure that I am comfortable and accounted for as your guest. Gertie is 1,000% right. Why didn't they have her name? Why were you separated if she was your guest and she was there with you? None of that makes any sense. I don't know if you guys gone to industry events, but you've gone to two events. You and your plus one are together. You eat together, you drink together, you do like little activations together. It just makes no sense that Julia would have Gertie come to treat her that way. And then when Gertie is just like, well, I ate dinner by myself and I'll see you around, it's cool. To me, that was very gracious. I would feel some type of way. You invite me to this event, we're going to eat, we're going to dinner, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy because my name isn't there and you're off doing you. And then I'm off in the corner eating dinner by myself. Who wouldn't have a problem with that when she's doing you a solid? And like I said, she's also going through, post cancer treatments. We saw what she was going through. You can see on her, you can see the sickness, not sickness as in cancer, but you know what I mean. You can see like the bloating and like, you know what I mean, when you see someone, they've been unwell or whatever the case may be. That's what I'm saying. You can see it on Gertie and you know her, and this is how you treat her. With me, if I have an event, if I'm going to an event and I have someone that's coming, I make sure that they are more comfortable than I am as my guest. Do you know what I mean? Like my plus one should be more comfortable than me because they're my guest. It's my job as the person who brought them to make sure that they're very comfortable. It's the hostess job to make sure that we're both very comfortable. But if you're my guest, it's my job to make sure that you're taken care of. So Julia missed me with all this nonsense. She did it last season with Alexia and the whole hotel room situation, having a problem simply to have a problem. I'm not with the shenanigans. I'm not with that sitch. I don't know what is going on there, but having a problem just to have one, okay. Like, girl, bye. Like, all the way, girl, bye with that one. Julia's giving dark energy, witchy poo, wants to have a problem to have a problem. I'm team Martina. I'm team Gertie. M- Julia's a mess, a hot mess. Adriana and Marisol. Marisol, I love. I think she's like fun. I don't know why she's not full time. She gives it. They should just go ahead and give her a full time, whatever they hold, cocktails or margaritas or I don't know, whatever they hold. She should hold one. I love Marisol. Adriana to me is like Peter Pan. She'll never grow up. I'm not buying this whole French aristocrat royalty guy. To me, I feel like she met him on Bumble or he is a central casting guy that she's paying. It's giving paid boyfriend. The PDA is really weird and gross, over the top. It's giving he just met her 2 nights ago and it's like he's just happy to have a gig, but yet is a little creeped out. Like it's always weird. And obviously I'm not sexist or anything. I'm a little bit traditionalist though, but it's always off-putting when the girl is more into the guy. Like to me that's just always so off-putting and weird. Like I think that the guy should always be more into the girl. That's just how I feel. And I am a feminist. By feminist, I mean I think women should be allowed to do whatever they want to do and how they want to do it without the threat of harm. So however you choose to live your life, however you choose to express your individual humanness, I think you should be allowed to do it, the pursuit of life, liberty and happiness. And so for me, I just think the guy needs to like me more than I like him, and ain't no way in hell I'm doing more PDA in public on camera than he is. That's just gross to me. It's gross. It's gross. It's gross. It's nasty. All right. Anyway, so what else? Oh, I have a hot take on Gertie and Russell. Dun, dun, dun. So we had the whole scene where she's going to talk about getting, reconstructive surgery on her breast after, everything she's gone through with the cancer and chemo and the radiation and all that stuff and the disfigurement. And she's already had about 6 surgeries. And clearly, she talks about her hair and her body and her weight and her breasts. And she's like, I don't know when I'm going to feel good again, but I'm doing everything I can to get there. And Russell is just like, well, when is enough enough? He's like, you've had 6 surgeries already. Now is this just going to be this endless cycle of tweak and a nip and a tuck and a this and a that? Like, when are we just going to kind of say, it's okay? Because of course he's probably one, scared. It's always scary when someone you love gets surgery, elective or cosmetic. Because at this point, her surgeries are, yes, they are reconstructive, but they are cosmetic at this particular point. And she says it herself. She's like, I just want to do to get it to 100, which is fine. You can't tell someone what to do with their body in order to feel whole again after such a big thing happens. But I understood what Russell was saying. He's like, when is it going to be enough? How many more chances are we going to take with this? Because, 20 rounds of radiation, chemotherapy, at least 6 reconstructive surgery, that is a lot. And every time you go under the knife, you're taking a chance with your life. So I get that he probably doesn't want to be scared anymore. And also, a lot of people forget how hard it is on the caregiver. I think that if Gertie is going to get, and again, this is just my opinion, and no judgment to her and to Russell, because I don't think it's anybody's place to tell someone how they rebuild from illness, from cancer, from that these types of cards. It's nobody's place to tell them what to do. However, I would say that Russell should probably, if he's not, I think he should probably be getting some therapy, group therapy, one-on-one therapy on how to deal with his own mental and emotional well-being as the caregiver, not just to Gertie, but to the boys as well. I think a lot of times it's the cancer patient or the sick person that gets all of the attention when the caregiver is the one who also really suffers. It is a huge toll and undertaking to be someone's caregiver. And like Gertie was saying, she's like, I feel bad for him, he's traumatized because he'll be the one fetching me everything when I'm sick and da da da. And like she kind of said it like aloof, but it's a serious thing. You have to think about the well-being of the caregiver, of the person that is there, that's not just taking care of the sick person, but they're also energetically and spiritually and emotionally bearing witness to the suffering as well. So not only do they take on their own emotional suffering watching the person they love hurt, but they also take on their hurt too, because all you want to do is to make that person feel better, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Who knows on that? I just hope that he's also, and I would say, if you're in that position and you can, like, I guess if they have enough money, they should get her some type of, at home care person, to come in and to help and take care of her and kind of alleviate that load off of Russell. He did it through her cancer, through her reconstructive surgeries, through all of this, and you can see on his face he's tired. He's tired. He's like, "What are we doing? Like, what is this for?" And again, that's also hard because he could be at peace with, okay, this is what my wife's new normal body is. I'm at peace with it. My biggest concern is her well being. But she could be like, well, I'm not at peace with what my new normal body is. I'm not yet at peace with it. So I want that extra surgery. I want that extra tweak. I want that because I'm not at peace with it yet. So you also have friction there. And I bet we see more of that coming up where there is friction in that. And then this is the hot take. I think a lot of people would think Russell would be the one to lose sexual attraction to Gertie because she's gone through the surgeries, she's gained weight as a, side effect of everything happening to her, the boobs and, the hair and the whatever the case may be. I think it's the opposite. I think Gertie has lost sexual attraction to him. And the reason why I say this is she has more of an attitude and she has more of an edge when it comes to him. And I think that the reason why she's lost sexual attraction to him is twofold. One, because he has been in that caregiver role, which is different from male provider role. I think he's always been that male provider. He's a fireman, he's strong, he's been there for the boys and he's been there for her. He's like that silent type. But that's very different from a caregiver type. Caregiver is much more divine feminine energy. The masculine male provider is more divine masculine energy. And I think the fact that he has been put into the more feminine energy, and again, I'm not talking about like sexuality or even gender, I'm talking about the essence of an energetic type. I think that that has made her have less attraction to him. And also, I think the insecurity in her mind of, do you find me attractive? Do you find me sexy? And I think it was episode 1 where they were kind of having that conversation in the car where she was like, I don't want you to feel like you have to be the caregiver and like I want this, whatever it is. So I think that, and then also with her being sick, sex is going to kind of change until it gets better or it gets the new normal, whatever that looks like. But I don't know. I just personally sensed it was more of I think he probably has caregiver fatigue, which is completely understandable, and I think she needs to get some outside help to alleviate that. They also have children. So he's taking care of the boys and her. That's a lot. That is a lot. And so I think they need to get some outside help to help him. And then also I think that um she has kind of lost that oomph towards him. That's my hot take. That's what I think is going on with them. Okay, so let's see. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, I think that's everything I had on Miami girls. So to quickly wrap up, I'm team Lisa versus team Larsa. I think Lisa is shining, dipping, and do it. I think Larsa is Jezebel jealous spirit and she needs to calm down and pipe down. Alexia and Todd, I think, are lying through their teeth. I think their whole breakup and makeup I think that's all fake. I think they never broke up. I think that they just created some sort of scheme because there's something financial going on in the background, whether it's legally financial or whether it's shady business financial. I don't know, but I think something's going on and they're doing all of this smoke and mirror nonsense to try and get out of that. Marisol, I love. She's fun. Julia is a dark witch. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's very dark, very weird, very bizarre. Gertie, I just want her to be back and to feel good in her skin and whatever that means. But also, I want Gertie to take care of her husband too. I know she's going through something, but so is he. And I think maybe figuring out a way, how can we take care of the person who takes care of us? That's kind of what I'm getting from that. Adriana, stop paying men to make out with them on TV. It's not a good look. I love Kiki. No note. She's a sweetheart. And I'm looking forward to meeting Stephanie, the new girl. She seems to be a firecracker. We'll see. She seems to be like, I married my husband for money and I don't care what about it. So we'll see. We'll very, very see what happens with them. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. All right, now let's move on to